Bobby was like my therapist in this building. I didn't really talk to Priscilla, the team therapists, the team clinicians. I didn't talk to people like that. This guy just had a knack for when he saw me in my feelings, he would come up to me and we would just talk it out.
What up, fam? This is Big Ray, and this is Big Ray's Garage Grind, brought to you by the Mindful Therapy Group. This is episode number 7, and we are super excited because we have a very special guest, a dude that is like very dear to everyone's heart here in Seattle. Like, I don't know if there's anything this dude could do wrong around here, but born in Olive Branch, Mississippi, attended Mississippi State University. Played at Mississippi State from 2007 and 2000 to 2010. Made the SEC All-Academic Honor Roll in 2008.
I did.
That's what it says, my man. Has a degree in criminology, which is interesting. I didn't know that. The 4th-round pick for the Seattle Seahawks, played 10 years as a linebacker with the Seahawks as a Pro Bowler in 2016. Helped anchor a defense that allowed the fewest points in the NFL for 4 straight seasons, and a nominee for the Walter Payton NFL Man of the Year Award and the winner of the Steve Largent Award, Super Bowl 48 champion, husband, father, broadcaster, host of the KJ All Day podcast, the man, the myth, the legend, number 50 in your programs with number 1 in your heart, KJ Wright.
I like that intro, man.
Hey, man, I had to give it to you,
That
bro.
All-Academic, that one caught me off guard. That's my first time hearing that one, but I'll take it. I'll take it, though.
Hey, you got to take that one, bro. I remember, this is a crazy story. I almost flunked out of college my first year at UVA. Like, after
doing,
the first nothing.
Exactly. Not a dang thing.
I wasn't. The party started on Thursday. I didn't miss any of them. But my GPA was like 1.04, something like that. And so they put me on academic probation. And so it was a matter of me just not being able to manage my time. Yeah. And so then once I got that down, I made like the honor roll every semester. Then one year I made the All-ACC academic team and was first team All-ACC and all that kind of stuff. So when
you figured it out.
Yeah, when my sons went to college, I was like, all right, dude, like, you have to consider the party part of it and the time management piece of it, because you have the knowledge, but if you don't manage the time,
it's that freedom you get when you get to college. Oh, mama not on my back, daddy not here. I can do kind of what I want to do.
Yes,
but you got to be disciplined. You got to be on it, because if you get them academics get wrong, they especially you an athlete, you're not playing.
Well, let me ask you this: you were recruited probably and played for at least 1 year for Sly Croom.
2 years, Coach
2
Croom.
years. Yeah. So Sly was our offensive coordinator in Detroit. And when he first came in, he was like, hey, guys, we're going to turn this team around 360 degrees. And so me being the kind of nerdy jerk I am, I raised my hand.
No,
he's
you
like,
didn't.
and he's like, what's up, Ray? And I was just like, well, if we go 360 degrees, we're right back where we started.
No, you didn't, right?
It was like,
hey, use that guy. Use that guy.
Oh, yeah. And he was like, you guys from Virginia think you know everything. And I was just like, I'm just saying, Sly, like, we can go 180 degrees, but if we go 360, we're going to be right back where we started, bro. We all going to get fired. And so that was, and then, we would practice. Obviously we're blocking for Barry. Yeah. Have all these plays, we're running plays, and we get in the game. I'm on the backside chasing safeties and corners all the time. And so I go to the side, and I'm like, Sly, like, man, like, can you get a brother in the game? Like, I don't get paid to chase these DBs. Like, I need to hit a dude that has a number 90 on. And so he and I would go back and forth. But I love Sly. He was a good dude.
I love him too. Old school.
Yes.
Old school. You come in there, you love your parents. So, hey, bro, how you doing? And he was one of the main reasons I went to Mississippi State. Yeah. I felt like he's someone that I could lean on, trust, have that father figure while I'm away from my hometown on Olive Branch. And so he was the reason, actually, that I chose to go there. But, man, 2 years, and he was out of there. Yeah. We had a shooting on campus from one of our players. And on top of that, we were losing. And everything just went downhill really quick. And so I called him like a couple of months ago, checked in with him. And it was good to hear from him.
Yeah, that's good. Sly was a good dude. He kind of got handed a tough deal in Detroit because, Bobby Ross was our head coach. And Bobby was hard, man. He was just, so a lot of players just kind of checked out. And it didn't go well for Sly. Yeah. Because Sly, I think he was He might have been offensive coordinator when Barry rushed for 2,000 yards.
Yeah,
but yeah,
it was the same in Mississippi State. We was just coming off of probation. We lost a bunch of scholarships. What happened at SMU when they got like when they got in trouble? You remember when SMU got in a lot of trouble? Illegal stuff, death penalty.
Yeah.
And we had something similar to that at Mississippi State, so we came into a bad situation. Didn't last any time. He lasted like 3-4 years.
Yeah.
Then they brought Dan Mullen in, and I played for him as well.
Well, that's cool that you check in on him. That's some good stuff. But as we mentioned, though, here as a Seahawk, you're an integral part of one of the most dominant, dynamic, historical, great defenses of all time. So what was that like?
Shoot, it was kind of a sense of not pressure, but you better hold up your end of the bargain. If you're out here, half-stepping, not preparing, not showing up the right way, you best believe, first of all, it's going to get called out by one of your brothers, and you'll get exposed on the football field. And our mindset, especially my mindset, is, all right, KJ, you surrounded by some dudes. You got to be on top of your game so you could walk that walk with them as well.
Right.
And the way that I prepared, the way that I studied, the way that Ken Norton Jr. just had myself and Bobby and Bruce ready to go, we knew that if we played well, this defense would be dominant as well. And so that was my mindset each and every offseason, each and every practice. Like, KJ, put yourself in the proper position to be successful because you're surrounded by some dogs.
That's an interesting way to put it, to put yourself in a position to be successful, because people will ask me sometimes, the neighborhood I grew up in the mountains of North Carolina, and they'll go like, man, like you must have been like, the best athlete in the neighborhood. I'm like, no. Like I probably wouldn't even make the top 10. I say, but what I did make the top 10 in was being ready.
Absolutely.
And like my academics were right. Like I stayed out of trouble. I rode with the right crew, like all that kind of stuff. Didn't miss school, all that. Good teammate. Those other guys, early fathers, getting arrested, getting kicked out of school, like all these different kinds of things. So when you say that you were, doing all those things to be prepared, what did that look like for KJ?
Well, I'm gonna take it. I hate to get you off track, but I'm gonna take it back to high school.
Yeah,
like I was the same as you. I was like the 10th best player on my football team, right? I was like the 10th best player on my team. But when I looked around, practice in, schools in, guys doing this, guys doing that, in the offseason, KJ on that damn field, KJ in that weight room, KJ ain't getting in no trouble. And you just fast forward, I just took all those tools, just doing the stuff that I could control. I would do it at a very high level.
Right.
And like everything that I did revolved around books and ball. I kid you not. I had my fun. I wasn't no square.
Right. Oh, yeah.
But priority number one is KJ. Handle this. And then you can have fun after that. I just look at so many people. It's just the priorities is off.
Yes.
My mama always said, son, make sure your priorities right. And I kid you, and I heard that 1 billion times in my lifetime. And so I just carry that stuff with me to this day. Have my priorities in order, handle business, then have fun after that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, in all of that, you played with a equally dynamic and historical personalities. So how did you hold on to yourself? And this is kind of moving into like some of the mental health stuff. But how did you hold on to who you were as a player and who you were as a person in the midst of all of that?
Yeah, I mean, I just knew there's only going to be one KJ. There's going to be one Sherman. There can only be one Mike B. And it was a beautiful thing to see all of those personalities, all those dynamic dudes just blend into one. And I knew for me, hey, know your role. This is your role. You're the type of guy, when you see something, you not go be up in front of the whole team yelling, shouting, screaming. What you are going to do, you go up to your brother, be like, hey, what's up, dog? You good on this play? Like, hey, what happened with this practice? Are you healthy? Are you feeling good? And so the way that I moved and migrated in this facility was I was always there for my teammates. I always was super observant of my guys. And I'm like, Cam is off today. Let me go to him during lunch, sit in his locker. We just go chop it up. And so that was my style. That was my approach. But when it came to being like a vocal Doug Baldwin or a vocal Cam, that wasn't me at all. And didn't need to be.
Right. So and to me, that's what's interesting, because you can hear some people think of that defense and they go like, oh, man, they were like, you did on the field play some bully ball. You know what I'm saying? Because, I mean, someone has to be the bully out there, you know? And then, but some people think of the personality of that defense as like also being bully-ish off the field and in the locker room and stuff. And so what I would want to know is the stuff that you just shared, like the way that you guys interacted with each other. That also, when you said, hey, I see Cam is off a little bit, so that off could be off like physically or it could be off mentally, right? And so then speak a little bit more on how you guys supported each other that way, like off the field, like maybe one-on-one or how did you guys approach each other when you thought a dude might be in or out of it?
The perfect example I could use is Bobby. Bobby was like my therapist in this building. I didn't really talk to Priscilla, the team therapists, the team clinicians. I didn't talk to people like that. This guy just had a knack for when he saw me in my feelings, he would come up to me and we would just talk it out. Right. He would literally come right up to my locker. He just had the perfect timing. Hey, what's up, dog? Hey, how you doing? How you holding up? He's like, oh, I'm just watching you. I'm seeing you.
Right.
And sometimes I would open up, and sometimes I wouldn't.
Right.
But with him, he was the person that I had. I played with Bobby for 8 years. Whenever I needed something, whenever I needed someone to vent to express myself to, I'm frustrated with coaching this mess, or they just drafted this guy here, I'm pissed off, or I'm nervous about getting traded. He was my guy that I vented to. And I knew with him that no one else would hear this.
Right.
This conversation would stay between us two. It would not get shared with a Kelly, with my coach, with a Coach Carroll. So I knew I had that safe space within the building, someone that understands, someone that gets it. But at the end of the day, he's going to listen, give me his feedback, but it will be shared between just us two.
Yeah, so you just hit on some interesting things, and actually some of the concepts that we've been talking about here, like having your people, like everyone needs, I call them a guardrail relationships, kind of like the guardrails you put up in bowling, so it keeps you from going in the gutter. Right. You know what I'm saying? So it sounds like Bobby was that for you. So here's an interesting thing. From the outside in, people would look at a KJ Wright and go like, man, like this dude has everything. Like, and he's established on this team. Why would he be worried about who they're drafting? Why would he be worried about, if he's going to get traded or whatever? Like, what is going through your head at that moment? Because this is where I think people miss the humanity of players, because they take the physical toughness and they think like, oh, well, like, he can deal with whatever, has supreme confidence or whatever, but we get little chinks in our armor too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man, I take it to year 10. It's year 10. I take it to year 9. Year 9, I was battling my shoulder injury. Shoulder kept coming out of place, kept getting dislocated. And I said, I'm not getting surgery, but I had to get surgery right in the middle of a pandemic, right? And I kid you not, the draft comes around a month later. I'm sitting there watching the draft. I watch it every year. And pick number 20-something come around. I'm like, these folks about to draft a linebacker. I'm in year 10. I just had surgery. I'm in my contract year. I was like, these folks about to draft a linebacker. And Ray, you know this. Anytime someone drafts a linebacker or a guy in your position, it gets a little shaky.
Yes,
it gets like, oh, hell, what's about to go down? And so here I am, surgery, not healthy, pandemic's going on, so I'm not able to come to the facility every day.
Right.
I was only rehabbing at the facility twice a week.
Right.
So I'm nervous as hell, and the doctor's telling me you won't be ready till October. So all this stuff is building up. I'm like, oh my God, they drafted this guy, contract year, salary not guaranteed. I'm not gonna be ready until middle of the season. Red flags all
like
over
crazy.
all over the place.
Yeah.
So hell yeah, I was nervous.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, I was nervous. Hell yeah, I was scared. And but you talk about someone being there for you, Coach Carroll. This man's a GOAT. This man is the absolute GOAT. We had a moment where we was all expressing ourselves, in the midst of the Black Lives Matter, and I was just saying, I'm scared of this, I'm scared of that. This man came up like he always does, wrapped his arm around me. He was like, hey, you don't got nothing to be scared of. You're not going anywhere. You're not getting cut. When I tell you my anxiety went from 100 to 2, that was so much needed for me. Just that words of affirmation, just that communication, just that comfort from him. And he didn't have to tell me that.
Right.
He didn't have to tell me that. But when he told me that, I trusted him. I believed him. And he was there for me. He was there for me when I expressed myself in front of the whole team.
Yeah.
He just came up to me one-on-one saying, hey, KJ, you're going to be good.
Well, I think that's important to note is because a lot of people will think that coaching is screaming and yelling and getting in someone's face and challenging them, and this concept that the coach has to be your dad, like is your father figure and all this other kind of stuff. And so, and for most people it looks a certain way. Like it has to be big and loud, and you have to be grabbing face mask and all this other kind of stuff. But you just said the coach just walked up and put his arm around you and just said you're good. And then and people don't look at that as coaching. You know what I'm saying? Like people think of that as something else.
Yeah.
But to me, that's understanding and having an awareness of the mental part of the game. Like he could probably see the stress on your face and hear the stress in your words. And then he was like, I need to find a way to bring this down. And that is mental health in a nutshell. 100%. And it doesn't have to be like I've gone to therapy and I do therapy and it's great. Like some people need that. But other people just need someone like that.
I'm telling you. And the question is, what's the goal? When you approach somebody, what is your goal? And your goal is to bring out the best in them. Your goal is to make them comfortable, get them excited. If they're upset, if they're angry, to ease that anxiety, to ease that stress. That's the goal. And leadership, sometimes you do got to scream at somebody. Sometimes you got to call them somebody out. Hey, tighten up.
Right.
Do this, do that. But sometimes you got to just chill, come from another angle, one-on-one, just us two. Hey, come in my office. Let's talk this out as men. Let's talk this out as human beings.
Yeah.
And so that's the goal. And the great ones know what it looks like. The great ones know that approach that they should take. Ken Norton Jr.
Yeah.
Prime example. He knew when to cuss me out in front of the whole room. And he knew when to call me at 10 o'clock at night and explain why he did what he did early in practice. And so I've been around great people, and with me, I take what I learned from them, add it to my approach, and do my KJ thing.
Yeah, and big part of that is that the trust factor, because they've shown up for you time and time again.
Yeah.
And so that's what brings the safety in it. So you know when Coach Norton or Coach Carroll says something, their word is bond. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know if I should tell this story, but I'm gonna tell it anyway. Bobby, I'm not gonna say the coach's name. I'm not gonna say his coach's name, but Bobby went up to a coach on the staff because the coach noticed something was going on with him, and Bobby expressed to the coach how he was feeling, what he was going through. Tell me why everyone on the coaching staff knew what was going on with Bobby.
Yeah, that's not good. That's
Tell
bad
me
football.
why everybody on the coaching staff knew what was going with him.
Yeah.
And so people gotta understand that when people come to you, like if it's suicidal, you gotta tell that. If it's something, you gotta tell that. But stuff that we just discussed between us, it gotta stay here. It gotta stay tight, because I'm for damn sure not about to come to you again if you just blabbing your mouth to other people. Yeah. And so it gotta be sacred.
Yeah. So that team is super important. And I think because we were just talking about just kind of handling different situations, there's some drastic things that happen in your career. So you guys went from the height of winning a Super Bowl in grand fashion, like from the very first series. Defense, bam,
2 points.
Like you knew it was over. like it was crazy. My kids were mad at me because I'm like, we're not gonna go to Super Bowl. It's cold in New York. Blah blah blah. We're watching on TV. And but from the very first play of the game, knew you guys were gonna win. So you went from that type of elation to one of the most devastating losses with the Patriots on the 1 yard line. Can you talk to me how mentally you handled both of those situations?
Well, with the first one, that was the best moment of my life. Here I am, been dreaming of this since I was a jit. Watching this, hoisting the Lombardi Trophy, having a Super Bowl parade, getting my ring, going to the White House, getting extra endorsements. Like, this is everything. This is everything I dreamed and hoped for. And for us to get back the second time, for us to put together that hard-fought game we had, Ray, honestly, one of the most hardest parts of that day was, like, guys were so banged up that day. Sherm had his thing. Cam tore his knee 2 days before. Earl had his shoulder. But guys played their hearts out. Guys played their hearts out that game. And for us to lose in that fashion with that decision, the way that I describe it was, it's like a dark, gray, rainy cloud over this building for years. Right. For years. There was no trust. There was no communication. There was finger pointing. And we was all in a space of, we were just floating. We were just floating, going through the motion, just getting by. Right. Just getting by. and it literally took 4 years to get out of that funk.
Wow.
And so you talk about, people go through stuff. Sometimes it take people years to get out of their stuff. And we finally, we climbed out of it. Everybody wasn't here for the ride.
Right.
A lot of guys left during that moment because everyone didn't heal. Everyone didn't heal properly.
Right.
Everyone couldn't process what just happened and just move forward.
Right. What did healing look like for you in that?
I'm still not healed.
Oh, really?
I'm still not healed to this day. Oh, I'm not healed. I'm not healed at all. My personality, I'm not going to be that cancer and just be that guy in the locker room that's just pissed off and mad and not listening to my coach and just combat everything he says. That's not my personality.
Right.
But how did I get over it? Oh, I'm still not over it.
Right.
I told I told Mike Salk on my radio show and Brock Hewitt. I said the only way I get over it is if I get another one. Hey, KJ is got to get 2 Super Bowls to his resume, or until then, I'm gonna still be in my feelings.
Well, I'll tell you this: I took my kids to that one, and my youngest son Price, who's now at his first year at Portland State playing left tackle, he came to the game in all Seahawk uniform, helmet, shoulder pads, pants, jersey, the whole thing, and he could not see what happened on the play because he was so short.
Oh, okay.
And so, because everyone was standing up, and but he just saw the Patriots offense running out on the field, and he goes, "Dad, like, what happened?" I'm like, "Oh man, like the ball got intercepted, on the 1 yard line or goal line or whatever." And his tears, KJ, they were as big as your water bottle. Yeah. He just would not stop crying, and to this day, he is in that boat with you. He's like, "Nah, I'm not over it, Dad. Like he just not over it."
And I guess the question is like, because I still see it. I can't watch the game. Anytime I see that logo on our chest and those blue jerseys, I change the channel. I don't watch that. I don't watch that stuff.
Yeah,
I do not watch it. I can't stand the sight of it. It's like it's I'm gonna say trauma. I don't know if that's too strong of a word, but it's traumatic. That's traumatic.
We're calling it an adverse situation.
Adverse situation, yes. And and so much stuff build up the following days, explanations and trying to make sense of it. No, you can't make sense of this.
Yeah.
You can't make sense of this. Just say I'd messed up and let's move on.
Well, I had a similar experience like that, but it was in college. We were Virginia. We're at 1990. We're number 1 in the country for like 4 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And we lost to Georgia Tech. They were number 6 in the country. We were number 1 in the country. And we were up 21-7 at halftime. Just a series of unfortunate events happened in the second half. We threw a pass to a running back out in the flat. He insisted on wearing the little visor. The ball bounced. He didn't see the ball in the sun. It bounced off his face mask. Dude intercepted, touchdown. Now it's 21-14.
Uh-huh.
Then we come back. Quarterback's running the option. The right tackle falls down in front of him. The right tackle's foot kicks up, knocks the ball out of his hand. They catch it, get it, and then they end up scoring. Now it's 21. It's a game. And then they win on the last second field goal. I will not watch the Virginia-Georgia Tech game ever.
You can't do it?
I just can't do it.
Are you talking about that game or any game?
I don't watch any Georgia Tech game, but Georgia Tech, Virginia, not watching it. I just can't do it. And then hey, let's have a reunion about that team and that game. Nah, bro. Y'all can go do that by yourself. You and Sean Moore and Chris Slade and Marco Coleman, like all them dudes, y'all go do that. Like I don't want any part of it. I get so mad, so angry. But
I'm in the same boat. I'm in the same boat. You're not
it's
alone.
hard to get over. But so obviously this podcast, and we've kind of hit on it a little bit, is we're focusing on this idea of around mental health and wellness, and specifically for athletes and men of color, and like just the stuff that people go through and how they deal with it and how they've dealt with it and what their perceptions of it are, what their perception of it is. But in your history as a athlete, or just as KJ Wright, what role has like mental health and wellness played in that? And then was therapy ever like was it something that you thought about during your playing career, before your playing career? Like, what was the conversation like in the locker room? What, like that type of stuff?
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. The first time that I experienced anxiety was my 8th year in the league. And Ray, when I tore my knee. I tore my knee preseason, contract year, just shuffling. When I tell you that I was going to bed having headaches, waking up sweating, driving to work in the parking lot crying. Like, I was clueless to what stress and anxiety looked like up until that moment.
Right.
And for me, I didn't have any tools. I wasn't talking to nobody. I wasn't venting to anyone. I would just come home stressed, rehabbing, go to sleep, do it all over again the next day. And I just looked at my life and I'm like, damn, how do I get out of this? What do I do?